Obviously, developers have tons of ideas, and that's how they make video games. But sometimes it's the fans that come up with some good stuff. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanx, 10 fan ideas that were added to video games. Starting off with number 10, it's Bioshock Infinite's Old Man Winter. In Barrel at Sea, the DLC for Bioshock Infinite, you can get a plasmid called Old Man Winter, which basically works the same as the ice power from the original Bioshock. What you might not know is that this plasmid is actually a fan creation for the most part. See, in the Bioshock Infinite art book, there was an unused Vigor design that showed a bottle with an old man design on it. One fan who was inspired by it designed an entire poster around the thing and came up with a name for it, Old Man Winter. The poster blew up immediately in the Bioshock fandom because of its accuracy to the games, and even got some approving comments from the series creator, Ken Levine. Eventually, the creator of the piece, Joe Trinder, was contacted by the developers, who actually bought his design and incorporated it into the game. The poster you find for Old Man Winter in the game is almost identical to the one that he originally designed. It's just that they swapped out the Bioshock Infinite stuff for some original Bioshock stuff, as the DLC takes place in Rapture from the original game. This is one of those rare examples where developers didn't just take a fan's idea, they actually bought it outright and put the artwork directly into the game, which is a pretty cool thing to do. At number 9, in Mortal Kombat, there were secret combatants and hungry trees. Now, when it comes to fan feedback, few long-running series have done it as well as Mortal Kombat. Ever since the beginning, the creators of this series have been masters of incorporating fan ideas into their games. So many characters over the years began as rumors or fan theories, and they were incorporated. Guys like Ermac, Blaze, and Rain all primarily began as rumors before actually becoming characters. Maybe the most significant of all these characters is Scarlet, who was totally a fan-invented character. In an interview with the PlayStation blog, Ed Boon said this about Scarlet. She was a completely rumored character. She never existed and was born out of the rumor. It got such legs that a name actually came out of it. There was never a glitch that turned Katana red. That just never existed. That was just an urban legend like Animalities and Ermac, a rumor that we eventually decided to make true. Scarlet has now actually appeared in 2 major games, in Mortal Kombat 9 as a DLC character and Mortal Kombat 11 as a main roster addition. Another big fan idea was the existence of a stage fatality in the Living Forest level for Mortal Kombat 2. It was a really popular theory that of course was not actually in the game. The trees eating people actually first appeared in Shaolin Monks, a beat-em-up from the 6th generation of consoles. There is way more that we can get in here, but the MK series loves to add fan stuff to their games. At number 8 is the Doom 2016/Brutal Doom connection. The newest Doom games, and we're talking about Doom 2016 and Eternal here, they've definitely taken some inspiration for the very massive and very active modding community from the original Doom games. The exact amount is hard to say because there aren't any developer interviews out there exactly where they took inspiration from, but it's easy to look at popular mods like Brutal Doom and think, oh, well that must have inspired the way the new Doom games are played. At least a little bit. One thing we can actually say is that the glory kills in Doom 2016 probably actually weren't inspired by Brutal Doom, which did have a similar mechanic. There is actually gameplay footage from early builds of Doom 4, which would eventually become Doom 2016, and they show glory kills being in the same game around 2008. Brutal Doom's first build didn't release till 2010, so it seems like these first-person kill animations were already in the game before the developers even heard of Brutal Doom. Other stuff, like the weapon modding system, is very similar to another mod called Project Brutality. Basically, the whole feel of the new Doom games feels similar to what modders were going for with Brutal Doom. It's Doom, but faster and more violent, just all around more aggressive. Even though there doesn't seem to be much that was directly inspired by these mods, they do feel similar. One thing that definitely was taken from the fans, though, is that they actually called the Doomslayer Doom Guy in Doom Eternal. For whatever reason, this has just been the most common name for the guy you play as in Doom for decades now, so it's pretty funny to see Doom Guy acknowledged in the main series. At number 7 is the Left 4 Dead 2 Last Stand update. This update to Left 4 Dead 2 is unique and it's entirely fan-made. It is an official update, however, fully endorsed by Valve, but the actual content and updates fully provided by the fan community. The biggest thing is it adds a short campaign called, obviously, The Last Stand, but it introduces new stuff like melee weapons, makes a whole lot of quality life improvements that fans of the game have been requesting for years. Like, keep in mind, this update came out in 2020, and Left 4 Dead 2 came out in 2009, so it has been a while. And this isn't even the first community update to hit the game. In 2012, they released some DLC called Cold Steam, which was actually an entirely community-made campaign that surprisingly wasn't free. It actually cost 560 Microsoft points. These are just two examples of Valve incorporating fan support into their games. Team Fortress 2 is also filled with this. A huge part of the game is fan-made and fan-supported. One of the reasons Valve's games became as popular as they did was because of mod support, so it makes sense that Valve added some of these fan ideas into their games. At number 6 is SuitOnly Silent Assassin from the Hitman series. In the original Hitman games, those who got bored of the normal gameplay eventually started completing the missions in the default suit, with Silent Assassin SuitOnly being often the hardest way to complete a level. Hitman Absolution made completing a mission without changing the default outfit a challenge in most missions. Not only did the SuitOnly challenge return to Hitman 2016, developers also made Silent Assassin SuitOnly a challenge. Basically, it completely changes how you play the game. Using disguises and hiding in plain sight is a huge part of the series, and SuitOnly basically turns Hitman into a Metal Gear style stealth game. In the earlier Hitman games, you would get scored on your performance at the end of every mission, with the top rank being Silent Assassin. Some players looking to challenge themselves further decided to try to get every mission in the suit you start in every level while still getting Silent Assassin, which obviously is incredibly difficult, particularly in those old games. It became such a common fan practice that Hitman developers IO Interactive added it as a challenge to their games. Starting with Hitman Absolution, many levels had side objectives called challenges you could do to get a higher score. Many levels had the challenge of SuitOnly. It wasn't until Hitman 2016 that they finally went all in on Silent Assassin SuitOnly and made it a challenge on each mission, actually making it possible to do it without having to totally exploit the enemy AI or use weird tricks. At number 5, Portal showing up in a LEGO game. Here's one we're not entirely sure about, but there has to be some kind of connection here, right? Just follow along with us here and let us know what you think. One of the weirdest additions to that LEGO Toys to Life game, LEGO Dimensions, was Portal. Yep, the Valve first-person puzzle game. It was one of the first few things introduced that didn't actually have some LEGO product already, so why did they include it? Well, there's a pretty popular Portal 2 fan animation floating around before LEGO Dimensions came out, which was made entirely of custom parts. And we have to imagine that the popularity of these at least partially inspired the developers of LEGO Dimensions to bring Portal into their LEGO game. And the Portal stuff is actually pretty cool. They brought back most of the voice cast from the Portal games and everything. Like, they even got Stephen Merchant back as Wheatley. So yeah, nothing concrete out there saying these fan animations are what got Portal into their game, but it's such a strange thing to put in otherwise that it feels like it has to be at least part of the reason. At number 4, when mods were integrated into the Bethesda Fallout games. The new Bethesda created Fallout games to incorporate a lot of fan ideas. Outside of Valve, Bethesda's probably the biggest studio to benefit from fan creators, so it's basically what's kept the Elder Scrolls series going for as long as it has. Some of the more obvious fan ideas are stuff like the weapon modification system in Fallout New Vegas, which is, considering how the modification menu feels like a mod at times, it makes a lot of sense. One really popular utility mod for the Elder Scrolls Oblivion was the keychain, which made it so all your keys would go into a single slot of your inventory so it wouldn't be cluttered with keys that you couldn't throw away. Fallout 3 incorporated this mod in the game with its own keychain item, which functioned pretty much in the same way. Other stuff like the Scorched Sierra Power Armor was originally a mod before added to the game officially with DLC. Another popular fan thing to do had to do with the ink blot test that you have to take at the beginning of Fallout New Vegas. Many players thought that one of them looked like two bears high-fiving and thought that the game should let you choose that as an option. As a joke, developers put a character named Two Bears High-Fiving into the Honest Hearts DLC. There are so many more examples of this kind of thing happening in Bethesda games, but we're gonna stop here for now, otherwise we would be here all day. At number 3 is the 1.6 update for Minecraft. Like, Minecraft is another game that's seen a ton of fan interaction. In its early days, it was almost a collaborative project before it was bought out by Microsoft in 2014, but even today we see a lot of fan-created content for the game that is officially supported by the developers. One major update the game saw with the 1.6 update was adding horses to the game. This was created in collaboration with the popular Minecraft modder Dr. Zark, who had made the very popular Mo Creatures mod for the game. Yeah, you can tell that this one is old if adding a rideable horse is considered a big deal, but at the time, Minecraft was still kind of finding its niche, and it was doing that by working with a lot of talented fans of the game. There are many, many more examples of this, but this is one of the first times that a modder worked directly with the developers to add something from one of their mods into the actual game. At number 2 is the secret cow level in Diablo 2. This is probably one of the most famous urban legends out there, the secret cow level. Certain players of the original Diablo got obsessed with clicking on this cow in the town of Tristram, which sometimes would give you a funny response after clicking it a few times. For some reason, rumors started spreading that it was possible to unlock a secret level involving this cow, either by just clicking on it a whole lot or by doing some near impossible sequence of actions. Of course, we now know that there was no secret cow level in Diablo 1 because Blizzard just decided to make it real in Diablo 2. To get there, you have to combine Word Slag, which is a fairly useless item you can get in the ruins of Tristram, with the Scroll of Town Portal, and you can only use it in a world you've already beaten. Before adding this, Blizzard swore up and down that there is no cow level, so much that it became kind of a catchphrase. Like, this is one of those fan ideas that just came out of nowhere, but the developers latched onto it and made it one of the most famous examples of something fan-made appearing in an official game. And finally, Shenlong from Street Fighter. Street Fighter, as it is today, has been hugely influenced by its fans. The way the game plays, the characters in it, and the backstories of many of them came about because of fan contributions and ideas. Maybe the most famous fan-created character in a fighting game is Shenlong, who was originally rumored to be a secret character in Street Fighter II after a mistranslation of one of Dio's win quotes saying you must defeat Shenlong to stand a chance. There was no Shenlong, just a weird translation of Dio's Shoryuken move. But most people didn't know that. An Electronic Gaming Monthly article only further stoked the flames of speculation by saying you could unlock Shenlong through some convoluted trick. It was an April Fool's joke, but people still believed it. The whole thing got so big that it eventually ended up influencing Capcom's creation of Akuma and Gouken. No one at Capcom has come out and directly said it, but the addition of the secret boss Akuma to Street Fighter II Turbo seems like it was made in response to these rumors of a possible secret character. Gouken, on the other hand, is a much more direct Shenlong reference. In an interview to the same magazine that put out the Shenlong rumor, the director of Street Fighter IV, Yoshinori Ono, said this: "Let's just say that jokes from your magazine reported in the past might find their way into the game as fan service." Basically coming out and saying that the secret character in Street Fighter IV was directly inspired by the whole Shenlong thing. There is so much more to Street Fighter that can be considered a fan idea. Hell, the very concept of a combo is basically a fan idea. But there's no denying that, at least for fighting games, the whole Shenlong thing, it was one of the most persistent and influential fan creations out there. But what do you think? Leave us a comment, let us know. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. The best way to see them first is, of course, the subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.